Okay, let's try that again. Hello. So what I'm going to do today is weigh and cook this and figure out the actual amount that I'm going to be eating. Okay, so it's just salmon. Now normally it's in packaging, but I've already did this yesterday, and I put a little bit of pepper, but that's it. I didn't put any salt. I didn't put anything. So that's what it looks like, raw. Got on super sale, so I had to get it. We have a scale here, and what I do is I weigh it with the plate because I don't want this to be on all the time. You could tear it, but the problem is then you got issues later if the scale goes off, or you change the plate, or there's more stuff on the plate, etc., etc. So I like to just weigh everything, use the same plate as I go. Okay, so I like to write down what the plate is. Okay, and I use, and this is 3/16, and I put P for a plate. And now I'm going to put all the meat that I'm going to cook today, that I'm going to put in here, which is already preheated, and then I'll get a weight. Now this stuff, normally you don't eat it all because there's bones and stuff in here, maybe skin that you're not too cool with. So I measure all the pieces together. You could do them individually, but we're gonna weigh those after anyway. So I get a number of 899. That's including the plate, and I'll write that now. And I use a B just to signify before. Now there's no salt on this, so I'm gonna add a little bit just before cooking, because that's always nice. And I don't use a lot, but obviously, you know, heart conditions, all that kind of jazz. The reason why I don't let it marinate, because the salt will pull the moisture from the salmon, and you don't want that. You want to keep everything inside. Now normally, if I had string, or you want to be super fancy, I usually put it together like this, so it's all in compact shape. If you leave it dangling like this, this part will cook and this won't. So you want to keep these together. Now this is all by feel and looking. This plate is not greased in any way. It actually has salmon oil from before. You're not supposed to clean this because it's cast iron. So all I'm going to do is going to put it on the plate, on the thing, and then don't touch it, and then it'll be done in a few minutes. And we'll just wait. Usually 3 minutes for this kind of thing. I tried this yesterday, so I know what it is, but it may be different. Do not touch the salmon, because it's so tempting to pull on it and check. Just don't do that. You can push it down a little bit, but just let it do its thing. I'm going to set the timer for 3. This thing has a timer, so just let it go on that. Three minutes have been elapsed, and this is when I start looking at it. Eventually you can tell by feel if it's cooked or not. Obviously I haven't flipped it yet, but because you let it cook, it's very easy. There's no sticking. There's no crap on the pan. Another 3 minutes, 2 minutes, because you want to check it because it will be already warmer than before. So you can tell when it's the stringiness, but that goes by feel. So you need to learn how to do that. So I'm going to give it 2 minutes and then I'll check. So the firmness has changed now. And for me, I think it's done. Now, normally you don't pull it apart, but when you're learning how to make it, you gotta do practice. Now I'm doing a little extra. I'm going to do the sides because I like it crispy. I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but I'm just trying different things. So all I'm doing here is letting it cook a little bit on the skin because I like the skin. You probably don't, but no one's forcing you. But it tastes really good because they usually make crispy skin things. Oops. Okay. It's already broken off, so I'm going to just leave it here. Now the scale's off right now, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to just weigh everything and before and after. So this is why I don't try and tear it because it will just end up with problems. Just to show you, that's what the skin looks like when you burn it a little bit. On this edge here, it's not. Oh, another piece fell off. This is the broken piece. So the scale's still off. I'm going to turn off this thing. So now all I have to do is take everything off, turn on the scale, and then weigh everything. So now I will get a final cooked weight of 8255, and then you minus the original plate. And just from doing that act of cooking, it lost about 40 grams. This is why it's important to know what you start with and then what you end up with, because if you don't do that, that 50 grams and you think you're eating it, but you're not, because it's in the pan or evaporated or whatever. So now what you can do is you can actually weigh the individual pieces, because you need to, all three pieces are going to add together to be the 855 minus the plate. So I'm just gonna. Now I'm going to measure each piece individually. So this one is the one that kind of fell apart. So I'll do this one first. So this is 513. Now remember, this is with bone. So if we were only to eat these pieces individually, then you have to remember there's bone in there, and you have to subtract the bone after you're done. Now I don't have a place for this, so get another plate. Now, I ate this yesterday, and I actually ate 2 pieces already. I know that 2 pieces is roughly 750 calories for 2. But you get a lot. You get almost all your protein for that day, and I can see the inside. I like it like that. You may want to cook it a little bit more, but this ensures that it doesn't go dry. Next piece with the broken piece. Now these 2 pieces I'll probably eat right now. So I will take these 2 pieces, weigh them together, and then when I get whatever I don't eat, which is the bone, maybe some skin, there's some fat in here I probably are not too keen on, so I won't eat that. I'll reweigh it, what's left, and then we'll end up with the total amount of grams when we think about what it started off with and then what it reduces down. It really depends on what MFP has. This one has an entry for grilled salmon, so grilled Atlantic salmon, so I think I can use that setting for the cooked, but sometimes you have to use the raw. So in my next video I'll show you what I mean by when you have a really complicated recipe, then you're using raw ingredients, then cooked ingredients, and then whatever the final product is. So this one's 501. Okay, we'll check back with you in a minute. I am back. So I finished my meal. See, some fatty things, some bone. I mean, most of it's gone, which is really good because you have to pay for that. So I'm gonna turn on the scale. Hasn't been teared or anything. Put it on, and then I get a finished amount. So that is, I can tell how much bone there is and extra crap and the plate. So I just write that down, and we'll get our numbers. Okay, so this is in Excel, my favorite program. Just to step through again, but using the numbers. No, I'll go a little quick because you've already seen this, but this is how I would write it in the book. So the plate is 350 grams, and I use P in my book. And then when I measure everything, then I get this. 899, and I use a B next to it to indicate beginning, because there's always a beginning and end, because if you cook it, it changes it, or if you eat something, then you want to know the difference between what was before and what's after. So I just call it all salmon raw. After we cooked it for about 5 minutes, well, a little bit longer than that, we ended up with this amount, 855. Now remember, this is including the plate. Then we started measuring out the individual pieces, because sometimes you don't want to eat the entire plate, and it would be pretty calorically high. So we end up with, this is the piece 1, this is piece 2, this is piece 3. Now, at some point, you're going to have to convert these numbers to usable numbers. So when you minus the plate, you get this. So it's just basically, if you know it, either, so it's 513 minus 315, and then you will get this number, 398. So when I add it all together, because I ate 2 pieces, if you remember, I end up with 356 B, because now I'm restarting it again because this is including the salmon I ate, which includes the bone and fat that I don't want to eat, and the actual material I want to eat. After I'm done eating the first two ones, because I'm eating this 513 473, I end up with this 373, and then when I get that, now just say so you can see it in columns, you minus the plate, you get 58 grams. So when you minus this and this, you get 298 grams, and this is the amount that you go into MFP. Now, obviously you've done MFP before, so I'll just pull it up. So this is your typical MFP. Whoops. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to add for lunch. Now remember what I said. If you're eating all this stuff all the time, it'll come up pretty easily. But I'm going to actually type it out. I'm going to say grilled Atlantic salmon. Now something you have to check is that whatever you're pulling up, it has to make sense to you, because the problem is you might get erroneous numbers. Now this is where we get into difficulty. You have 4 ounces, 1 ounce. You actually have to convert 398 to ounces. Now what I do is, before anyway, I go 208 grams to ounces, and there's a math thing you can do, but just for the sake. So I ate 10.5 ounces. That's quite a bit. So instead of 4 ounces, I go 1 ounce, and then I can just multiply 10 point something, and that will give me how many servings I did, and I'll add it to the diary. And that's how much calories I have eaten if we trust this number. So 673, and that's it.